All right, so it should be recording. Yeah, it's recording now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start with a quiz. Okay, you're going to have to listen. You have to listen. We'll start with a quiz. Okay, so just listen and then I will ask you the question. Listen, okay?
जिंदगी रात भी है सवेरा भी है जिंदगी रात भी है सवेरा भी है जिंदगी है सफर और बसेरा भी है जिंदगी है सफर और बसेरा भी है जिंदगी एक पल दर्द का घाव है दूसरा सुख भरी छाँव है
Okay, so the question is, which knowledge point does this song tell us? Which knowledge point is this song referring to? You can either unmute yourself or you can write in the chat. Which knowledge point? कहाँ है chat यार? अरे वाह. Opposite values. Yes, very good. So at least you remember either the song or the knowledge point, and some people remember both. You know, so now we know कौन कितने पानी में है. Opposites are complementary. Correct. This is the song, right? Opposites are complementary. Okay. Everything is changing. Oh yeah, it can be like that also. हर नया पल नया गीत है. That's it. Okay, so there is a basic requirement to be on this session is that you have to have a cup. And if there is no cup, you have to we will put you in waiting room. It's not a joke. These admins are very sinisterly authoritarian people. That is why I made them admins. Because they removed me also in one session because I didn't have cup. Imagine that. So, so go get a cup. Anyway, you're at home, right? Go get a cup, anything. It can be full of anything. It can be chai, coffee, nimbu pani, whatever the heck you want, you put in the cup, no problem. लेकिन cup होना है ना? It's like तेजा मैं हूँ मार्क यहाँ है वैसे cup होना चाहिए like that. Be right back. हाँ protein shake, anything. Protein shake, nimbu pani, water, hot water, whatever. So we need to have cup. Confirm your language you're speaking. Yes, English, whatever. Okay, so most people's video still off. What's going on? Not empty. Empty bhi chalega. It's never empty. It's full of air anyway. It doesn't matter. So come on. Cup. We cannot start without cup. Appudiya. Let's go. Okay. So we will do like a short. So let's see. I'll count down from 5. Just make sure your cup. Wait, I can't even see most people cup. Ta-da. You have to what's going on? Come on, people. All of us are Kriya enabled. We need to be more efficient. Let's go. Because if after Kriya enabling, this is the state, imagine what's going to be the state without Kriya. Oh my God, I can't even imagine that state. Okay, let's go. 3, 2, oh, I said 5, right? Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, hopefully somebody took a screenshot. If not, we'll do it again at the end. All right. Any questions? Firstly, how are you guys? Just show with hand. It can be like this, you're good. It can be you're doing like totally what a heck of a day it is. Or it can be like this, whatever, blah. Anything is okay, right? Doesn't only have to be like this. If it's always like this, it's so boring in life. Everything is good, then there is no value for the good. You know? It can be like this also. Oh my God, I'm having a horrendous time. which is fine too. Perfectly fine to be not. It is okay to be not okay. It's okay to be not okay. Yeah, all right. Any questions we have?
Yes, there are many.
Many.
Yeah. To start with, there's a question about predestination. If life's important decisions shape our path and are predestined, are these decisions purely made on conditions of one's mind?
Wait, what's happening? So the what? Okay.
If life's important decisions shape our path, are they predestined or are these decisions purely based on conditions of our mind?
Hmm. Okay, so the decision is not predestined. The situation is predestined because it is an inevitable present moment. It is already happening because of other things that have happened in the past. That's the situation you are in front of you. What is in your control is how you respond to that situation. That much control you have. Now, if your vrittis are stronger than your ability to manage the vrittis, then your action is also predestined because it's your vritti that is driving the action. Right? So now it's a catch-22 situation. You make an action from your vritti that makes a future situation predestined, and it just goes on a predestined roller coaster. You have got no freedom at all. Zero. The only freedom we have is to get over the natural push of the vrittis to get us to do what the vritti wants to do. And that discriminatory no, saying no, I'm not going to have my fourth piece of chocolate cake. That no comes from having the say on going beyond what the vritti wants you to do. That choice is ours. There is no other choice. If you don't make that choice, it becomes an inevitable present moment, series of them in an unending loop. There is no freedom. You understand? Which is why these practices are very important because they are working on the vrittis. They are thinning out the vrittis. And then we have some say over how the future moments will be. Cannot do anything for the present moment, but only you can affect the future moments.
Where I need to do a sound check. Is my voice okay? Because yeah.
Yeah, which is okay. Mine is not, but
Shall I move to the next question?
yes, please. Yeah.
Despite being aware of my thoughts and actions, I feel incapable of change. Is this awareness an illusion or is it pointless to witness one's behavior?
No, it goes back to vrittis again. It goes back to vrittis again. You have to you have to be aware of your vritti first. So that awareness is necessary. You might not. It might seem that you're helpless. That if something happens, you yell or you shout or you whatever. It might be in hindsight you say, "Oh, I should not have yelled or I should not have." So what happens is the vritti takes over, then the action happens, then the awareness of the action happens after. So vritti takes over, action happens, awareness of the action comes after. But if you don't pay attention to the awareness of the action, you will never bridge the gap between vritti and action. It will always be vritti first and action. Once you're having awareness, then what will happen is eventually the awareness will come before the vritti kicks in. That this whole gap will reduce, and it will be awareness comes first, and then the vritti kicks in. But then the vritti is not allowed to kick in because you're already aware it's happening. You understand? So that is abhyasa, that is practice. You understand? So that is why the practices are to be done nairantarya, without interruption. Otherwise, this bridging of the gap between vritti and the action does not happen. Vritti keeps dominating and then you're just stuck. Okay, there's a hand raised. Yeah, Veena?
Can I ask for some understanding of that term that you just used, Vrutti or something? I did not I don't really
Oh, sorry, you
understand
don't
that.
understand Vrutti. Okay, yeah, okay, all right. So we'll explain what it is. Vrutti means conditioning. Vrutti means conditioning on the level of the subconscious. So every action leaves an impression. Have you watched the Physics of Pranayama talk? No,
No.
I come back to the P. nahi? Okay, fine. So somebody put the link in the chat. So just copy the link for yourself. So there is a Physics of Pranayama talk where I explain all this. So, but Vrutti means that every action leaves an impression on our subconscious, and that subconscious impression stays with us over lifetimes. Right? So you got an impression of when you were a cockroach. That Vrutti is still inside. Then you're a dog, maybe you're a, I don't know, lizard, snake, tiger, whatever, all that, those Vrittis are there. Hmm. And the Yoga Sutras are the method, the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, where he gives all the actionable items that we can do, are the method to thin out these Vrittis. Vrittis means impressions that lead to tendencies. Okay. And unless the Vrittis are thinned out, you're stuck. There is no freedom really. The freedom is only an illusion because the Vritti is driving the action. The tendency to shout at people is inside, it's like ingrained Vritti, and then something happens, poof, that shout will come, right? Like that. But after you do the sadhana practices and all the advanced meditations, etc., those Vrittis start thinning out. So now you got some control. So the Vritti is thin out, and now the awareness comes before the Vritti kicks in and say, oh, this shout is coming, but then you stop it. That's what happens. That's the meaning of Vritti. They're just impressions in the subconscious. And that drives everything. The subconscious drives everything. If you watch the physics of pranayama, you'll understand it's an inside-out process. You think that the mind is driving, but it is the subconscious that is driving the mind, which is driving the action. It's all driven by the subconscious.
Is it anything similar to what we think of as the astrology, when we are born and
No,
there
no.
are these predestined sort of like you're born at that moment, which are the, and then they nothing to do with it, right?
There is no such thing. Astrology is not a fatalistic science. There is no such thing as predestined. It's only tendencies. Astrology just tells you that these are your tendencies. And then there are ways to get out of those tendencies. Astrology is not a fatalistic science. It is a predictive. So it's like saying, okay, there's a tendency of 60% rain. Now the choice is yours whether you want to go out without an umbrella or with an umbrella. It's just telling you that it's going to tendency of 60% rain. I mean, now you can take an umbrella and say, all right, if it rains, I got an umbrella. But if you choose to get wet, you choose to get wet. But that's not a fatalistic thing. Astrology is not fatalistic. Okay.
So, Bhaiya, there is another question on Vrittis in the chat box. How can Vrittis be conditioned again?
Yeah. So there are two types of Vrittis. There are what are called Klishta Vrittis and there are what are called Aklishta Vrittis. So Klishta Vrittis and Aklishta Vrittis have one distinct difference. One of them is conducive to spiritual evolution and the other one is conducive to bondage. There are two types of vrittis. Like if you have a vritti of doing meditation every day, it's also a conditioning, but that vritti is aklishta. That vritti is leading to elevated levels of consciousness. So those are vrittis that you keep. But the klishta vrittis that, oh, instead of meditation, I'm going to drink a beer, something like that, or something. Those are the klishta vrittis. They are going towards bondage. Doom scrolling on Instagram, that is a klishta vritti. Fight it. Per se, Instagram is not bad, but your addiction to the infinite scrolling, that is the problem. You understand? So there are two types of vrittis. One of them is good, one of them is not so conducive. And the abhyasa is to get rid of the klishta vrittis. Not get rid of, but thin them out.
Moving to next question, Bhaiya. Who am I? And what is the purpose of life?
Okay, do you know the origin of this question, who am I? Where does it come from? Do you know? Who knows? Tell me. Nobody knows? Abey, sale, tum log. You're asking the question all the time, who am I? Just like you're making a drama of it. Oh, who am I? Arey, where does the question come from? Okay, I'll tell you the story. So there was some yaksha. Yaksha means the people who are like eating other people and just like destructive people. You know. And so one yaksha brought one person home, something. I don't know the exact detail of the story, but the essential is I'll tell you. So this yaksha somehow became friends with this human, and they brought that human home. But then the other yaksha came, and they were not friends with this guy, so they said, "Yeah, I'm going to eat this person." And there were many dismembered body parts in the because the yakshas is eating and throwing like this, right? So now what happens? This other yaksha takes this human and rips off one body part. But this yaksha, who is the first yaksha who was the friend of it, takes an available body part, which is the dismembered from the previous carnage, and joins it so that this body part becomes full. You understand? And this goes on lots of time till that other yaksha who wants to kill this person goes away. And now this person doesn't know which body part is his and which body part is from the other dismembered body. So this is the source of the question, who am I? This is where the question comes from. You understand? This is the story behind the question, who am I? So this is the thing that comes from inquiry. So this leads to the inquiry saying this mind body complex that we are with, where does it come from? Who or what is it? That's the first step towards introspection. Yeah. So it's okay to have this question, but don't make a drama of it, because this question, if you don't have an evolved understanding or an evolved, how do you say, sadhana practice, this question is a hindrance because you just get stuck in the noise. The wheels are spinning and you're just in a cloud of dust. You're not going anywhere. So forget this question. I'm telling you. This question is relevant only when you are coming out of the depths of consciousness to elevated levels of consciousness where distinction between you and the other is becoming more and more feeble. And to resolve that distinction at that level of consciousness, this question becomes relevant. If you're not at that high level of consciousness, this question is a hindrance. This question this question prevents you from making progress. This is the problem. Okay. So be okay with this question, but don't be like, oh, what a great question I'm asking. Don't do all that.
Why do we feel lonely even when we are surrounded by people?
See, the feeling of loneliness is nothing to do with how many people are around you. It is how much connection you have with others. It is from your side outwards. Loneliness is not about having 100 people around you. If you have no connection, you will be lonely even in a crowd of millions. You'll still feel lonely. How connected are you? And if you have connection, even if there is nobody around you, you're fully connected. There is no loneliness. So loneliness is an inside out process. It is how much connectivity you have and how many connections are you maintaining. That's the antidote to depression is not kriya and meditation. Many people say, "Oh, bhaiya, somebody is depressed. Something, can I ask them kriya?" I said, "No. Antidote to kriya and antidote to depression is not kriya and meditation. Antidote to depression is connection. You have to establish a connection with them. And you have to get them to establish a connection with other people, and that automatically pulls you out of depression. Antidote to depression is connection, and the spiritual practices just help that. But if that connection is not there, you can do as many spiritual practices as you want. It's useless. Not useless, it is of very little use, which is why I say it's useless. Connection is the first step. Kriya meditation comes after connection.
Yeah, it sometimes so happens that we feel happier after doing some good deeds. But this is not a continuous phenomenon. I mean, sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we don't. So why is it so?
Hmm. So it's a feeling, right? So it's a feeling of happiness. Feeling of happiness comes from its chemistry. It's the secretion of dopamine and serotonin, all these things, endorphins in your body. And there is a conditioning that when you do altruistic work, when you do a helping service to somebody else, the body secretes these chemicals just by programming. It's an evolutionary trait. It's an evolutionary trait. See, the race had to survive, right? So if you don't help other people, the race will die out. You know, because there are so many predators in the old days, even now. There are so many predators. So people have to help each other. How do you get to help each other? When you help each other, if that feeling of goodness or well-being happens inside you because of these chemicals released, then you will more and more help each other. So the evolution will lead you to survival. That is how it all started. And then the chemistry just takes over. So when you do a selfless act or you do some service, not service, just helping other people, then the dopamine and serotonin and the endorphins get secreted in your body and then you feel good. That's how it works.
How can
If
spirituality, sorry,
Yeah.
if
uh,
connections makes difficulties, what to do?
Connections make difficulties, then make better connections. I cannot tell you. I mean, if you make connection with the snake is going to bite you. That's the Vrutti of the snake. So you make connection with the mongoose, and then you make connection with the snake. The order of connection is also very important. So then there is a mongoose to protect you from the snake. You have to be a little bit smart, you know.
how can spirituality and science coexist when one relies on faith and the other on fact?
Who said? कौन बोला? मेरे सामने लेके आओ उसको. Spirituality relies on faith. Who said? Spirituality is the keenest science. First, it comes from spirituality. Only then it comes from material science. The spiritual sciences evolved years and years and years before material sciences evolved. There is no faith in spirituality. If you are doing spirituality on a faith, you're wasting your time, I tell you. You have not understood the first thing about spirituality. Spirituality is the most critical analysis of things that are intangible with rigor and verification. This is spirituality. Physics is the same thing. Physics is the critical analysis of what is external with rigor and verification. That is physics. And the critical evaluation of the internals, the mind, the emotion, the intellect, all of these levels, ego, critical evaluation of those with rigor and verification is spirituality. There is no conflict between them. They are like train tracks. They are parallel and they intersect. Where do they intersect? At infinity. Parallel lines intersect at infinity. There is no conflict between spirituality and science because they're the same process. They're just one is outward facing, one is inward facing. That's it.
Whereas
Spirituality is
sometimes so
spirituality is going inward, but physics is going outward. So which way is better?
There is no better or worse. It just is. Both are leading to the same. Both are leading you to the same infinity. You're just coming at it from different directions. That's all. There is no better or worse. Both are equally difficult. Both are equally easy.
How to choose then?
How to choose? You flip a coin. Heads आया तो ये, tails आया तो वो. There is no choice really. They are the same. Why do you want to choose? You want to choose only if there is a conflict. Is this or this? There is no conflict, so there is no choice. It's the same.
No, we are among people who are believing spirituality or doing on the way of spirituality, and others are on the way of science. So how we will make connection with these different peoples?
There is no conflict. I don't understand the problem. Which means your understanding is itself superficial. If you're not able to make a connection between either or both of them, your understanding is superficial. You raise your level. Forget about others. You raise your level first. Only then you can pull somebody up. If you're only in the gutter, who will you pull up? You're itself in the mud. What will you do? Nothing. You're just stuck in conflict. I don't have any conflict with that. I can speak with a spiritual person on spirituality. I can speak with a physics person on physics. There is no problem in my head. They are the same.
How to come out of the gutter?
That's a self-effort. You have to do some effort there. You have to. Have you watched the Physics of Pranayama?
No.
Then you're already in gutter. Come out of it. Yeah, there are so many knowledge series I've done. We have done Ashtavakra from the point of view of physics. We have done Narad Bhakti Sutra from the point of view of physics. Love. I have introduced physics in love. We have done Patanjali Yoga Sutras deep dive from the point of view of physics. We have done Ishavasya Upanishad from point of view of physics. We have done Shiv Sutras from point of view of physics. We have done all of this stuff. It's available for you to watch and come out of the gutter. But you don't want to do any effort. You just want like easy things. It's not going to happen. Self-effort has to be there somewhere, right?
Okay.
May I? Okay. So, Bhaiya, often we face failures multiple times. So the question is that how many times one should attempt to achieve success or leave it to God's will?
There is no such thing as God's will. Why do you say it's God's will? It is only self-effort, I tell you. If it was God's will, God would have done it by now. You think God is a lazy bum? No. God is everywhere doing everything or doing nothing. Both are equally correct. God is an enabler. Does the space do anything? No, the space only enables this cup to exist in 3 dimensions. The space is an enabler for this cup to exist. It's not doing anything, but without space, this cup is useless. It cannot exist. That is the meaning of God. It's a field. But the action has to come from the doer. So you have to. So if there is a failure, you have to think like farmer. You have to think like a farmer. What does a farmer do? The farmer plants the crop and then he waits. And then there is monsoon. Then he has a harvest. Next year, what does he do? He plants the crop again. And then if there is no monsoon, what does he do next year? He plants the crop again. And he keeps doing it. It's a relentless action. This is what you have to do. You have to keep acting. And as you recognize the Vrutti that is preventing your growth, you pluck it out, that Vrutti. And then you keep going. And that Vrutti will come back. It's like a weed. The most important part about doing gardening is to remove the weeds. If you have not done gardening, start gardening. You'll understand this. It's not enough to just plant the flower trees and vegetable trees, etc. You have to remove the weeds, boss. If you don't remove the weeds, forget about it. The weeds will take over your garden. There is nothing you can do unless you remove the weeds. And it has to be action again, action again, action again, action. Every Saturday. Today I didn't do because today I've got this session. But every Saturday I put my torn jeans and all that. I go outside and I do weed plucking for 1.5 hours. That's all I'm doing. I'm plucking bloody weeds. Why? Because the flowers have to look like flowers, not like a jungle. Yeah. So I'm plucking weeds. Every week you have to do. I cannot say, chal, aaj nahi karunga. Arey, the weeds will take over. The vrittis will take over. That is why the sadhana practices have to be done nairantarya. Nairantarya means what? Again, without interruption. Otherwise, the vrittis will take over. Vrittis are like weeds. They will just keep on going. The vrittis are bloody strong, I tell you. Takes a lot of effort on our side. So when you have a failure, just analyze the failure and drop it. Next time the situation comes, don't think, yeah, I already fell in the gadda once. I'm going to fall in this. No, you have to circumvent that pothole. And I tell you, once you figure out a way to circumvent one failure, that failure never comes back in your life because you have learned the lesson. The actions in your life are happening again, failure, because you're not learning the lesson. Once a lesson is learned, it's gone. Forever it's done. But you have to learn the lesson. So don't worry about failure. Failure is there. Unless you have failure, there is no success, I tell you, because knowledge comes only after action. Unless you fail, you never learn. If you sit on the side, on the edge of a swimming pool, you think you're going to learn swimming. You will learn. You'll read like 10 volumes of how to learn swimming. You still, when you jump in the water, you're going to drown. Only after action comes knowledge. Failure is okay, fine. It's just a failure. You learn, you move on. That's it, done. Somebody's in waiting room.
Yeah,
Any?
hello.
Yes.
Yeah, hello. How to find the purpose of one's life?
How to find the purpose of one's life?
Yes.
How old are you now? So all this life, you're just wasting your time. Khatam, end of story. You already lost. You already lived more than you have left to live. You understand that, right?
No, I'm asking this question, at least those who didn't find out can find out for that.
There is no purpose to your life, boss. What will you, if I tell you this, what will you do with that? If I tell you it's just a random fluctuation that created this whole mess that we see as universe, and it is like that. It's a random, and that's it. Everything just happened. It's a matter of just various levels of energy cooling. Now, if I tell you this, you'll say, oh my God, there's no purpose to my life. No. You decide what the purpose for your life is. There is no one answer for everybody. And in the process of finding the purpose for your life, you will find that that is not the purpose. It is called the principle of indirect action. A.R. Rahman's purpose is not to make music. A.R. Rahman is undergoing many other things when he's making music. Those many other things are the hidden purpose of A.R. Rahman's life. Einstein's life purpose was not to invent physics. Einstein's purpose was something else. He already did that. In the process, he invented physics, relativity, Brownian motion, photoelectric effect, all of this stuff. Tendulkar's purpose is not to hit the perfect cover drive, no. But in the process of hitting the cover drive, other things happened to Tendulkar. That was his purpose in life. But that was his way of getting to the purpose. Everybody cannot be made to be like Tendulkar, Einstein, or A.R. Rahman. Somebody has to be like me, a joker. That is my purpose. My purpose is to make jokes. And in the process of making jokes and understanding all this stuff, other things are happening to me. Everybody's purpose is, there's no one purpose. You understand?
Thank you.
How does an enlightened person view the world?
Through the eyes, that's the only way to view the world. There's no other way to view the world. What is the meaning of enlightened person? Do you think that enlightened person is something different from a normal human being? No. Your concept of enlightenment itself is muddled up. When you have the keenest discrimination of what is unchanging truth and what is changing truth, that discrimination, when it comes, you're done. But to get to that discrimination takes a long time. So the viewpoint doesn't change. It is how the signal is processed. That is what changes. When you screw up in life, which I have done many times, and I've gone to Guruji and said, oh, I screwed up. He doesn't judge me, because for him, at that point in time, I'm a new person. There is no connection between the joker who's screwed up and the joker who's in front of him right now. There is no connection. So what has happened? The signal has been processed differently by the enlightened person. And not only Guruji, you go to any enlightened person, they will treat you as if they're meeting you for the first time, which is true. Everything happens only for the first time ever. When you realize this, you're done. Not realize it as a thinking thing, realize it as a feeling. When you know that whatever is happening only for the first time. It has never happened ever before. Every moment that you have lived is the unique one. There is no same moment ever in any of our lives. Nothing has been ever duplicated. Imagine that. You don't even have
Can
the
I
same
ask you
cells
a
that you were
question?
born with. Yeah,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah. You already did.
Yeah. Just I want to pause for a second. Actually, see, you are an engineer, I am suppose. If that is the case, what is the effect of art of living in your life?
I can get to do these sessions, right? I get to meet so many people. I get to make so many connections. No, and my decision making has improved. I know, I have an intuitive feeling of where the issue is in a complex problem. I have an intuitive feeling where the issue is, and then I have the skill sets to do the math and analyze, and I can say that, all right, my intuition tells me this, and my math is telling me this, and if they are the same, then it's okay. But if they're not the same, then I analyze the math again, and if it is still the same, then I know that my intuition was wrong. But most of the time now my intuition is correct. So that's what happens after doing Kriya practices. But it happens only if I do the Kriya practices daily. If I just do it regularly, regularly means what? Once every 7 days. That is also regular. Then it has no effect. So daily, you have to do Kriya practices daily. You have to do Seva. You have to do and you have to go out and help people. Seva doesn't mean only enrolling people for course. Do you understand that? That is not Seva at all. That is business. When you're enrolling people for course, you're only doing business because you feel good. Yeah, I brought them to the path. Who cares about you, boss? You have to do something so other people don't even know that you have helped them. Simply going and sitting next to somebody who you can intuitively feel is going through a hard time in their day. Simply going to their cubicle and just making a joke and just sitting there and sharing your sadhana space with them without pulling them into your space. This is service. Can you do this? Then you are using your practices for some benefit. Otherwise, you're just doing business. If you are enrolling people for courses and you think that's the end of your seva, it's useless. Stop doing it. Because you're just doing business at that point. See why people
Right,
have to give
Sandeep.
intro talk. I'll ask you this. Why people have to give an intro talk? Tell me, why do you think people have to stand up and give an intro talk? Because there is nothing in your life that other people want. That is why you have to sell it to them. I never give an intro talk. People say, yeah, how do you do all this stuff that you do? Huh? Now you're talking. When you can get your life to that state where you don't have to does Guruji have to do intro talk? No. He just walks in the room and people say, hey, dude, how can I be as happy as you are? Done. Finished. That's his life is an intro talk. Get yourself to that level. Forget about all the noise. Elevate yourself from the noise. This is my suggestion to you.
Thank you.
Sandeep ji, thank you for
Is
having me here. I'm sorry, I'm just jumping in. Somebody wants to speak. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
is the mistake of others affect our life?
Yeah. Everything affects everything else. How do you know it's a mistake though?
How to get rid of that?
How do you know it's a mistake first?
Suffering.
Suffering is not a mistake. Suffering is simply the complementary opposite. So you see, you already put a label on something. When you say somebody else's mistake, you already put label. And the problem is putting the label. The problem is not in the action. The problem is the labeling of the action. Think about this. There is no such thing as wrong action. Just action. Good or bad is a perspective. Anyway.
I have a question. Why is it called actually called the physics of pranayama? What is the physics here?
It's my talk. I can call it whatever the heck I want.
Okay, so there's
And
nothing.
physics of pranayama sounds so cool, like the physics of pranayama. See, you're already intrigued. You don't know what the heck to put it in physics basket or pranayama basket. You're all jumbled up. That's the whole point of the thing. The physics of pranayama. It's all about why we do the counts in a certain way. Why is it 4, 4, 6, 2? Why are the hands in the right position? All of this stuff. All that I explained from the point of view of physics. You go watch it. You'll see.
Okay, so it's there in that website.
Is there on the thing? Yeah, it's there on the thing.
Okay, great. Thank
There
you.
on the app also. Is there on Udemy? There's many places.
Bhaiya, I have a request here because people have taken efforts in putting the questions when we ask them. So can we keep our questions for the later part of the session and can give preference to the people who have already shared it?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Thank you. So does spirituality take away one's individuality?
No, it doesn't. How can it? It is your individuality. Nobody can take it away from you. Spirituality doesn't mean that you have to conform to the crowd. If I wear a white dhoti, angavastram, and I have a big black beard, doesn't make me any more spiritual than I am now. Makes no difference how you dress up. You understand this? Spirituality is not a joke. Spirituality is a keen analysis of what the subtle is doing. It's a method. Just like science is the method to understand what the external is doing, spirituality is a method to understand what the internal is doing. And wearing a white shawl and having long beard and all doesn't make you any more spiritual. That's just a whatever dress code. So no, it does not change. Spirituality does not take away individualism.
What is the relationship between mind and the brain?
So brain is in the physical body. It's in the sthula sharira. Sthula sharira means gross body. That's the brain. And the mind is in the subtle body. It's in the sukshma sharir. And there is a mapping between the subtle body and the gross body. There is a mapping. So prana is in the subtle body and breath is in the stool body. It's in the gross body. Like that, there is mapping. So that's the difference between brain and mind.
There are some questions on pranayama and meditation. So how we can incorporate pranayama in our daily routine?
By doing it. If you don't do it, it'll never be incorporated in daily routine. You simply have to do it. Find the 20 minutes in your life, sit and do the practice. Done. It's not so difficult.
How does pranayama work with the body?
I already explained it in Physics of Pranayama. Go read that. Go listen to the talk.
Why do we have specific counts in pranayama and Sudarshan Kriya?
Ask and answer. Go watch the Physics of Pranayama talk. All this is covered there.
Can
One
pranayama?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to understand what feelings are. Is it just a combination of sensation and thought, or is it something separate?
Feeling. Feelings are subtle, subtler than thought. They're registered in the brain and they are labeled. So feeling is at one level, feeling is an intuition that is coming from a really subtle source. But the problem with that is, not problem, that's where it's coming from. It gets lost in the noise because the system is so noisy. There is so much chatter in the mind and brain. There is so much baggage in the memory. There is so much bias in the intellect. So that feeling that comes, that intuition that comes, gets distorted. And it sort of disperses and then it registers as a feeling, which you cannot pinpoint what that feeling is saying. You just have a feeling because of the dispersion. So when your mind-body complex is purged out from all the Vrittis, then it becomes crystal clear what that intuition is. It's all about signal processing.
Where can you share some healing stories from teaching meditation to people?
Healing stories. Oh, yeah. Okay, so meditation. Okay, yeah. I'll just tell you what happened in one of the courses I taught. This was for veterans. Veterans means what? People who have fought in war and come back. So these are veterans and they are carrying trauma with them. So we did it's called Project Welcome Home Troops, PWHT. So we go to veterans group and we teach them Kriya over 5 days, like that. So we taught them. I went, and another person was co-instructor. So we went, we taught them Kriya. And there's this one guy. I mean, he was a Marine. He was, anyway, so he would sit in one corner of the room. He would sit in the exact same place every single day for 5 days. He would not, we would get people to move around. He would not move. He would sit in the same place. That's it. So anyway, so we did the Kriya, done 5 days. We taught them everything. Not taught them, we offered, whatever, instructed them. Then at the end, I said, we are going to continue this. Once a week we will come, we will do the home practice. I mean, we will do the guided sky together as a group with Guruji's voice. Everybody said, yeah, they will come. And this guy, the guy who was sitting in the corner, he said, I'm not going to come. I said, okay, it's your choice. You don't have to come. So then that's it. Then I started doing the weekly follow-up with them. After 4 or 5 weeks, this guy came. I was like shocked. I said, oh, he said he's never going to come. And there he was. He's again sat in the same place, his place in the room. So after Kriya, I would get some snacks, etc. for them just so that they can eat something and go. There were some bananas and cookies, etc. So everybody ate, they left. This guy hung around. And when everybody left, he said, I want to talk to you, something like, or tell you something or something. I don't remember exact words. I was standing and he came and stood like 2 feet from me. This guy is a Marine, okay? He's like 6'5" and his forearm is bigger than my thigh. Yeah, he's like a well-built. I said, okay, aaj to last day. Jai Gurudev. Huh? So he said, I want to tell you something. I said, with his finger like this. I said, yeah, please. He said that in his house, there is a back porch. So it's like a mesh door. And if the latch would not be engaged, if he would find the latch not engaged, he would get into a panic attack. Something must have happened during his service. Some bad things must have happened, but that would trigger a panic attack. And he told me that yesterday, so the day before he came to see me, he found the latch not attached and the panic attack did not come. So he told me, I want to tell you this, that this shit works. I said, oh, I'll tell Guruji that your shit works. I'll tell him. Because he was doing his home practice every day. Even though he would not come for the weekly Kriya, he would do his home practice. So that panic attack stopped. And then he said something that I still cannot process. I'm getting goosebumps even now. He said, tomorrow I'm going for surgery. So they found some tumor at the back of his ear, something. And he was going in for surgery. And he said to me that I want you to tell me that everything will be okay. Who the heck am I to tell him anything? It is the Guru's grace. So I told him, yes, Steve, everything will be fine. I mean, this kind of shift happens to people. And I've seen this so many times. People who are chain smokers give up smoking. I mean, there is lots and lots of stories. So this shit works, I'm telling you. I mean, I got it from the source, right? And I told Guruji, Guruji, your shit works. He says, yes, I know. What will he say?
Yeah, good evening. I have a question. I have been practicing Sudarshan Kriya and Head Samadhi for almost 5 years now. There definitely is progress. I had such problems, both physical and psychological, mental, but there is definitely progress. But I feel the progress is very slow. जैसे आपने अभी बताया, this guy practiced only for say 5 weeks. And he saw such a big change of the panic attack not coming, because I am sure he must have been a very conditioned person to survive in those conditions in the job profile he had. So am I doing something wrong, or is it okay? Some people are slow, some people are fast, or is there something I can do to get better results or faster results?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot, saying, oh, that person has effect right in 15 days. I'm doing it for 10 years. I'm not seeing anything. You don't know how much practices or sadhana or whatever they have done in previous lifetimes. You don't know the merit that they are bringing into this lifetime. You don't know that. You see. So when you take the sum total of all the merit, everybody is at the same place. When the merit becomes equal, the results become equal. Problem is you don't know the area under the curve. Why? Because you're living under like a memory freeze. You don't know what happened before your this active birth. Why active birth? You don't even know the process. You don't even remember the process of your birth. You don't remember. Right? You don't remember being pushed out of your mother's womb and all. You don't remember a goddamn thing. So there is a memory bank that you don't remember, but the Vrittis are coming. The merit of your past actions are accumulating in the subconscious. And then when the accumulation reaches a certain peak, the result manifests. So you don't have to you don't have to feel jealous or something of anybody else.
No.
There is nobody
It is
else.
not.
It's
No,
only about you. You do your practices, forget
no.
about the result.
Yeah. Totally not about jealousy. It was more like maybe I am not doing something right. So
No,
it is about getting my performance up to
no, maybe there is not, you're doing
outcome driven.
something, you could still be not doing something right. I'm not saying that you're doing everything right. You could still not be doing, but it does not matter what the other person is going through. It's only about you and yourself. That's it. There's no other person. You know.
So
I'll tell you another story.
any
Wait. I'll tell you another story. So there is this,
yes.
we call him Nilendu uncle. He's like the head of um, VVM. VVM or IHV? VVM, I think. VVM. He's the head of VVM in the United States. Nilendu Srivastava. Like he has done so much seva. He has done the course like 30 years ago. He was one of the first people to learn all of this stuff. In one Guru Purnima, he got up. I was there in the room. He got up and said, Guruji, I have not had a single experience in any of the kriyas that I have done. Zero. People say, oh, I got tingling sensation, I got this, I saw vision, I saw blue light, I saw nothing. Nilandu uncle has not had a single experience ever. And Guruji looked at Nilandu uncle and said, it is not about the experience. Done. It is about the indirect action. Always remember this. It's a principle of indirect action. It's not about how you feel. It's not about any of this stuff. It's all very superficial. It is the indirect chipping away of the samskaras. That is what is going on. So,
Does it?
yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Sorry. Does it kind of manifest the progress or the chipping away? It should manifest in our vrittis are getting less stronger, less prominent, less frequently appearing, something like that.
Yeah, but your wanting for this manifestation is a hindrance for the manifestation to happen because you're stuck to a certain result. Something bigger is happening to you, but you're stuck to this small little nonsense thing. And then that other thing you cannot do. Your hands are fully occupied with this minuscule thing. A full asman is coming in your hand. Your hands are not even free to take it. Come on. Most people are living like this. Oh, meko ye chahiye. I want to do. Arey, chhod yaar. Whole world is coming to you. Take it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
See, dispassion is very important. Dispassion. There are two things. There is passion. There is dispassion. Right? What problem happens when after people do art of living courses, they become dispassionate in the world. Kya Guruji karenge or Bhagwan karenge jo bhi. And they become passionate about their sadhana. Oh, I want this, I want this. Arey boss, flip it. Be passionate in the world. Go get that red Ferrari, whatever. But be dispassionate about your sadhana. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going to waste my 20 minutes every day. Done. Now, when you put dispassion in your sadhana and passion in your action, you see the progress. It is infinitely fast. Problem is you're doing it ulta. That is your problem. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay. Thank you so much.
I have a related question, if I may ask, right? So I just put that in the submission. So I often struggle to see if there's a difference between how you conduct yourself in the inner spiritual world and in the outer material world, right? So should we just use our intellect to navigate the outer world? Basically, my dilemma is like putting yourself out there with all your vulnerabilities will open you up for judgments, right? It will make you harder for you to navigate the material world.
Right.
So should you be your authentic self in both situations, or is there a different rules for conducting yourself, or just use the intellect? What in those situations?
Yeah, so it depends on the level of your what I would call spiritual awakening. It depends on how much the flower is opened. It's a very bad analogy, but so if
Yeah.
the flower is fully bloomed like Guruji, there is no difference between his inner and outer. It's the same. For most people, the flower is not even fully bloomed. It is like 10% bloom. Okay.
Yeah.
In 10% bloom, you have to fake it. In the outside world, you have to live like conform to the outside world, but with a barrier. So all the crap that is the world is throwing at you, don't internalize it. Keep the crap on the surface, and then with your evening meditation, that crap will wash out. So you have to, yeah. For example, I will not wear a dhoti and go to office. No, I will wear like proper shirt, pant and go to office, right? But Guruji will wear a dhoti and go everywhere. He has no problem. It's not about dhoti. It's about Guruji will talk about, oh, so and so. Gita says that you cannot talk in the middle of the meeting. So wait, Gita says this. Who the heck is Gita? I mean, you understand.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
you have to live your life properly. So that's why I'm saying be passionate in the outside world, be dispassionate in the inside world, and don't confuse the two. Don't confuse the two. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, may I?
Yeah.
How do we know plants have feelings?
Okay, so this is the problem. Feelings as defined by what? Feelings as defined as how we experience feelings, which means all the endorphins and all this other chemistry stuff. What do you mean by feelings? So if you say that, oh, I have a feeling of not very pleasant, um, I don't have a pleasant feeling when somebody shouts at me. Let's say you say like that. Now, if you put a plant in a loud, harsh music environment, that plant is not going to do very well. But does that mean that plant has the same feelings as you in a harsh environment? No, you cannot say that because you don't know what is the feel. How do you even define feeling on the level of a plant? So if you're saying that feelings are defined by as my outside world changes, my inner response feeling changes. Okay, if that is your yardstick that you call feeling, then yes, the response of a plant will change depending on how the environment of the plant is. So does that mean that it has a feeling? If you define your feeling like this, then yes, the plant has the same feeling. But you say, oh, I feel a feeling of pain. There is no such thing as for a plant. Because pain is a neurological thing from the brain, and the plant does not have that structure. So it's a little bit of a goofy question. I don't understand.
Again, plant-related questions. Then, why do human bodies age while plants rejuvenate every spring?
So the aging happens because of unraveling of the end of the chromosomes. It's called the telomeres that unravel. That is why aging happens. But there is one part of the body that never ages, muscle. Muscle never ages. Did you know this? There is no aging of a muscle. The muscle of a 90-year-old and the muscle of a 16-year-old have the same capacity. No difference. Other supporting things of a 90-year-old are not conducive enough to exercise the muscle. That's the problem. Crocodiles don't age, for example. So aging is a little bit complicated thing. And the plant shedding all its leaves and then coming back in the spring, etc. That's just evolutionary benefit. That has nothing to do with aging. It's just that's how the plant has evolved.
Yeah, another
Can I,
interesting question. Sorry,
shall I ask?
somebody.
Yeah. How do we cheat the mind of the physical body pain?
No, you can't do it. At your level, you cannot do it. You need to be an advanced yogi for that. At our level,
Can you
like
elaborate? Can you elaborate how advanced levels?
super advanced level. Have you reached any of the advanced meditative states that Patanjali has listed in the Yoga Sutras? Have you had, for example, Nirvikalpa Samadhi experience? No, right? So forget about it. You're not qualified for this. Done.
Okay.
When you're an advanced yogi, there is no connection between physical and there is a full disconnect. But you're not an advanced yogi, so forget about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, another interesting question. Can spiritual practices develop supernatural powers?
Yes. Only after doing it for sufficiently long time.
What does dispassion according to you?
According to me, what is dispassion? When I see a gulab jamun and I say, "Aaj to nahi khaunga main," that is dispassion.
What is Vairagya, Tyag, and Nishkam?
Why do you want to know all this stuff? How is it going to change your life? It's not going to. All these are words many people use to, the story of the donkey. There's a donkey, there's a guy sitting on the donkey, and he wants the donkey to move. So what does he do? He puts a carrot and he dangles it in front of the donkey with a stick. You know that story, right? Then the donkey wants to eat the carrot and it moves, and the carrot is moving with the donkey. So the donkey is moving. All these things are given as carrots so that people move. They don't get stuck in their mundane life. So essentially, those gurus who are telling you all this stuff are thinking that you're a donkey and you're not going to move without the carrot. So they say, so at least you move. Otherwise, you just stand there. Don't worry about all this stuff. It will happen, yaar. You don't have to do anything. Everything will just happen after sufficiently long time when the Vrittis get thinned away. All this just happens. There is nothing to do. Nothing to do.
Well, what is the impact of the observer on photons in Young's double slit experiment?
Acha. Okay, what is your level of qualification? कहाँ तक पढ़े हो? What do you understand about quantum physics and Young's double slit? What is your level of understanding? Then I can answer. See, because the answer is given at the level of understanding. Where you're like Janak, who is on the brink of enlightenment, then you get an Ashtavakra in front of you, who gives you the answer that pushes you. Ah, aho, Niranjan, he will come. Like that. When you're like Ram, who's already highly elevated, then you get a Vashisht in front of you, who answers the questions as a Vashisht's yoga. Vashisht will never come in front of Janak, because Janak is not capable of understanding Vashisht's answer. And Ashtavakra will not go in front of Ram, because Ram already knows what Ashtavakra is telling him. So it's useless anyway. Then for mundane people like us, Patanjali has to come. Oh, you jokers, I'm going to tell you a prescribed step. You do all of this stuff and I'll guarantee that you're enlightenment. Then Patanjali will come. Then these people who are doing the Patanjali stuff eventually get stuck because their understanding is only this much. Then Narad will come. He will remove all the obstacles from inside out. So depending on your level of understanding, the answer is given. That is why these scriptures are specific for specific type of people. So when you ask me what is the role of the observer in a Young's double slit experiment, what is your understanding of physics? How much time have you spent learning quantum physics? Unless I know that, I cannot answer the question.
Can you explain the concept of karma? Sometimes we are in difficult relationship with a family member, and I feel this is a karmic past life connection. Can you share your views?
Karma is very important thing. So you know how karma starts. Patanjali explains this in the Yoga Sutras. If you have not done the deep dive of Patanjali Yoga Sutras, I'm telling you, do it. It is very hard. Even though I gave the session, I'm telling you, in the interest of full disclosure, it is very hard. But once you go through the discomfort, you will understand. It becomes, you can feel it, you can touch and feel it. So Patanjali gives the definition of a kshan. Kshan. Kshan means it's the smallest amount of quantization that happens on the level of the mind. And then two instances are quantized. But that only happens when the mind is ultra stabilized. There is no more vibrations. Right? So when the mind is ultra stabilized, you can discern a kshan. Now most minds are not stabilized. So those kshan merges into one another. So one kshan continues into the other one and there is an appearance of continuity. This appearance of continuity over many kshans, billions and billions of kshans, develops into karma. It's an action that is left unfinished and continued. That continuation action that is finished, every action is complete because at the level of the kshan, every action is complete. But when you're not settled mind, that complete action morphs into the next one. So you get a intermingling actions and this accumulates as karma. That is the source of karma. And then it has been distorted over the years saying, oh, it is all the good you did and the bad you did. All that is just carrot in front of the donkey so that you keep doing good things. That's all it is.
Related to this question, can I ask one more question? how do one knows that whatever the actions you are doing is related to the past karma or present or future?
You cannot. There is no way to know. There is no way to know. You simply are given the free will to decide what the next action is going to be. That's your only free will. How that situation has come in front of you, you will never know. That is why the ways of the world, ways of the karma are unfathomable. But your action, your today's action or this moment's action sets into motion some future events. That is under your control. Nothing else is under your control.
Thank you.
Vairagya, what is time? What is time? How can you define the time?
How can you define the time? It depends on your means of communication. Time is defined by how you choose to communicate. So the fastest method allowed by physics to communicate is the speed of light. So you can define time like that. And then a consequence of putting an upper limit to the speed of communication is everything else. The special theory of relativity comes from there. You say that I cannot communicate faster than c. C is the speed of light. What is the consequence of that is the entire physics of relativity. So now if you elevate your mind to a state where the c, the speed of light, is not the limiting means of communication, but the means of communication becomes something else, I don't know what that is, then other things will happen as a result of it. Like the universe knowledge, the knowledge of the planets will come, the knowledge of the stars will, all of that will happen. But for that, you have to transcend the limitations imposed by vision. Vision is the fastest communicator, speed of light.
If addiction dominates someone, how to help people to overcome it?
Yeah. There are methods to do it. But finally, the drive has to come from themselves. So we can introduce them to specific techniques. There is a de-addiction program, I think. Art of Living, Bangalore Ashram has a de-addiction program, which is very specific. Guruji designed it. So I don't know how that program works because I'm not a qualified teacher of that program. So ask them, ask a de-addiction program teacher. There are specific things. But at the end of the day, the drive has to come from the person. Because they
How
are
do I
bound. They are bound. Addicted people who are addicted are actually bound. They're not free. A little bit difficult. Yeah, okay.
How do I know if I am doing well for family and society both? Kindly help me understand on what scale I'm doing spirituality or not.
And why you are putting labels on all of this stuff? If your family is smiling, when you enter the door and everybody smiles, you're doing good. When you enter the door, everybody says, oh yeah, this person is here. Oh, you're doing faltu. That's it, done. You know, people's face tells you how you're doing. You don't have to guess anything. Don't worry about all this. Oh, am I doing this spiritually advanced? All that bakwas, all those labeling. This whole problem is coming from the need to label everything, the sticker. Throw away the labels, I tell you. Just take it as it is. Done.
Can you be a fine artist and still get rid of Vrittis?
Yes.
Is making art a cliched Vritti?
No. You can make fine art. A.R. Rahman is totally fine artist. So is Sachin Tendulkar. So is the Joker. Yeah? We're all artists. No, it's a principle of indirect action that art is doing something else.
Jai Gurudev, can I ask something?
Yeah.
Sujata here. भैया ऐसे तो लगता है कि प्रेजेंट मोमेंट में जी रहे हैं। कुछ भी आता है जैसे उसको वी स्टार्ट टेकिंग, तो कई बार ऐसे लगता है कि ऊपर ऊपर से तो नहीं जी रहे।
हाँ, वो टेकिंग में है, आप कैसे लेते हो उसके ऊपर है, आप गहराई से जी रहे हो या ऊपर ऊपर से जी रहे हो। बहुत लोग ऊपर ऊपर से जी रहे हैं क्योंकि सब ले लेते हैं। प्रेजेंट मोमेंट का लेना जरूरी नहीं है, प्रेजेंट मोमेंट को नो बोलना भी इक्वली जरूरी है। फिर आप गहराई से जी रहे हो, नहीं तो फिर सब ले रहे हो, सबकी बकवास अंदर जा रही है, फिर क्या पॉइंट है। डबल क्रिया करना पड़ेगा, ऑल दैट बकवास हैज टू बी रिमूव्ड, सो यू डू डबल क्रिया। नो नो, सी प्रेजेंट मोमेंट इज समथिंग टू बी recognized कि ये है। उसके बाद इन एक्शन यूजुअली क्या होता है लोगों का, when they hear all these words, the present moment, inevitable, and accept people, all this, they become very superficial. They become very, not superficial, they become passive. They become passive. Passive means what? Oh, ये तो ऐसा ही है. I accept you like this. Oh no, that's not called acceptance. Acceptance means you recognize कि this person is like this, and then after that recognition has subsided inside your body, there is no more trigger. Then the action has to be done. People don't do that next step. They don't act. Then it becomes passive. Then it will be superficial. Once the action is done, then it is gehrai ka action.
लाइक मतलब जो सिचुएशन है उसके अकॉर्डिंगली ही एक्ट कर रहे हैं, बट इज इट ओके और समथिंग मोर डीपर हैज टू बी डन?
So this is a little bit complicated to give a general answer. But according to me, first step is accepting a situation and recognizing it, whether it is conducive for growth or not conducive for growth. You know? And if it is not conducive for growth, then you act to make it conducive for growth. That action has to be done. And if it is conducive for growth, then you act to make it more conducive for growth. Like, for example, if you have a center, it is conducive for growth. But you say, yaar, theek hai, center hai. You say, how can I make it more conducive for growth? You put yoga mats, you put blanket, you put takiya, all that. Now you make it more conducive for growth, right? Janta aake baithega yoga mat pe, takiya hai, sab. They can do kriya properly. Then you say, yaar, ye bhi theek hai. Then you say, how can I make it more conducive for growth? You can put, I don't know, some fan. So when it is summer, you can start the fan like that. Pehle room mein fan bhi nahi tha. So each level you have understood, you have done a complete job, it is perfect. And then you say, aur kya? How can I make it better? This action has to be continuously done also for yourself. आज मैं यहाँ हूँ, your 100% today is different from your 100% tomorrow, is different from your 100% day after tomorrow. Nobody can tell you you're not doing your 100%. उसको क्या मालूम साले मेरा 100% क्या है? Nobody knows. Anybody tells you you're not doing 100%, don't ever talk to them in your life, I tell you. Don't talk to them because they don't know. Everybody's 100% is at their level. Nobody can make you do anything that you cannot do. That's just nonsense.
Beautiful. The growth has to go on.
हाँ, नैरंतर्य, again. You know, ये आरती इधर है, उसको पूछो, ये नैरंतर्य again, पुनः उसका ही line. Go talk to her. On physics of on Patanjali Yoga Sutras we did Nairan, है ना? Nairantarya पुनः. Yes. फिर
So what would be the next step to go deeper into that session?
अरे छोड़ यार,
that
डीपर एंड ऑल
action.
आएगा बाद में। ये सब डीपर में जाने के लिए ही, इफ यू पुट एक्शन जस्ट टू गो डीपर, देन नेवर गो एनीवेयर।
मतलब जैसे आता जाए उसको keep walking through it.
हाँ, साइलेंस कोर्सेज करते जाओ, once a year you do साइलेंस कोर्स, वहां पे सब समझेगा। बाद में you learn some, do the hard deep dive sessions, learn some knowledge. And you have to do again. Just listening to the knowledge once is not going to be enough, because every time you listen, some new aspect will open.
Yes,
है ना? तो ये सब
definitely.
आना है,
That
उसके
does happen.
हाँ, that's it. उसके बाद क्या है? Then it's all fun. Juice पीवानो, कैरम रमवानो, मजा नहीं life. Like that. You have to live.
Okay, thank you. Jai Gurudev.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah. अरे कितने बार पूछा? वापस पूछ चल.
Basically, so how the memory is being transferred from one birth to the other?
अरे what will you do with this answer? Tell me. If I tell you the 15-step mechanism of memory transfer, are you going to do anything to change it? No, right? बकवास question है ये. What are you going to do? If I tell you, okay, oh, this happens, this happens, this happens, and then memory is transferred. What are you going to do with this information? Tell me. Nothing. This kind of questions are only forming concepts in your mind and preventing. These are Vrutti again. This is again a Vrutti. When people ask question to Guruji, oh, how does the soul leave the body? Does it leave through the left nostril or right nostril or through the ear? Who cares? What are you going to do with that answer? Nothing. This again tendency, you have to recognize this tendency is preventing the flow from happening. You're getting blocks. Even though you think you're asking a very brilliant question, it's really not. It's not a brilliant question because you cannot take action on the answer. You cannot do anything with that answer.
Thank you.
Can we see the nature's sign as a step for future?
I don't understand.
Actually, suppose we are going to do some work and we see some sign in the nature.
Like the black cat crosses your road like that.
Yes.
यही तो मेरे को लगा ही कहीं तो black cat आने वाला है अभी. Correct. अरे no यार, what is that black cat and all? Who cares about that? See, it depends on how weak your sankalpa is. If your sankalpa is weak, then even a ruffling of a tree का leaf will shake you. Oh यार, झाड़ हिल गया, खत्म, काम तो नहीं होने वाला है. Forget black cat, है ना?
Yes.
Oh, I saw a shadow of a bird on the ground. Oh, my day is going to be horrible. Arey, that is a bakwas thing in your head, right? So now that you're Kriya enabled, you're out of the clutches of all this other nonsense. वो ब्लैक कैट को बेचारा एक माउस दिखा, वो रोड को क्रॉस करके माउस को खा गया. अभी तुम्हारे एक्शन पे उसका क्या असर है? nothing happening to you. And Guruji already said that once you are enabled with Kriya and all the power of all these planets etc. on you are already loosened up. You don't have to worry about anything.
What are deep dive courses?
Where you take a long breath and you hold. And there is no instruction to release. That's deep dive. No, deep dive means it is rigorous. So when I do the deep dive courses, I make people fill out Google Sheets of what they understood from the session when they watched Guruji's session. Then we do an hour-long discussion. Then they write after in a separate Google Sheet what they understood after the discussion. And then at the end of the day, I will send them both their versions so they can see how the before and after happened. So it's a little bit rigorous. It's just not just watching video and doing some 5-minute discussion and finishing. It's a deep dive. You invest 1 hour to watch Guruji's video, then you invest another half an hour or 1 hour to come with me to discuss. Then we do all this analysis
Is
business.
it part of an AMP?
It is part of what?
AMP, part 2 course.
It is beyond part 2 course, Baba. It is a graduate level course. No, we will send you the links. They are all discussion sessions that are recorded like this. And it takes a little bit of, it'll shake your foundation. Some people have done the deep dive sessions and unka foundation hil gaya. Now, but they are still back, which means something good must have happened to them, right? After the foundation shaking. So, yeah.
Any eligibility criteria?
Just you should have a little bit of a brain. That's it. No, you should be okay with not understanding. You should be okay with the discomfort because the ideas will change. So that'll create a feeling of discomfort. Some people cannot take that feeling of discomfort, so it's not for them. But if you can take the discomfort and if you can little bit withstand the, oh, my foundation is now shaking, then it's for you. And at the end of the day, you will survive because look, people are here who have already survived. That's so we'll send a link. There is a whole POP-knowledge series, kuch to bhi. There is a URL where, I mean, we did the best we can. This was during lockdown time, right? So I had to keep people engaged and we had to raise money for all the Guruji's work. Like, so once we started that, then we opened it up as recording. That's what we did during lockdown. So Sumit, you will send the information, right, for the accessing the videos and all. Yeah. Okay, हो गया ना टाइम कितना हो गया डन
मैं अभी क्वेश्चंस तो बहुत है
बहुत है ओके
So,
बट इट्स ऑलरेडी लेट फॉर पीपल राइट 8:30 चलो we'll do 10 minutes more.
Jai Gurudev, I have a very simple question. Thank you for having me. Sorry I was late to jump in. I'm fairly new to pranayama and practices. Don't have any fundamental understanding. The simple question is, how do I learn it? And what are the expectations? What are the stages of revelations? What to expect and whatever time it may take, but what can we expect? What are the stages of expectation?
Yeah, so to learn pranayama you go to any art of living course like what's it called in India, happiness program or sky breath meditation workshop, whatever. You learn the 3-stage pranayama there. Then there are other things. You can learn the Sahaj Samadhi meditation. You can take the advanced meditation courses like the silence program. In India, you call AMP or something. People will tell you all this. But the yardsticks, what will happen to you over course of time? The yardsticks are laid down by Maharshi Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras. So he says this will happen, Vrittis will start getting then you will identify the blockages in your life. There are so many things that you have to overcome and the methods of overcoming them. And then after you overcome them sufficiently, then you will reach this state of settledness of the mind, and then you reach next state and next state. Like he gives a whole breadcrumb, so you can follow that. But that requires a deep practice. But for now, we just start off with learning the basics and then go from there.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Yeah, so he has put the link for the knowledge series, the deep dive. So copy that link. Okay, anything else?
yeah, if a person has a problem of epilepsy, do he or she needs to take any care during the Kriya and Pranayama?
Yeah. But if you're epileptic, I mean, or if a person is epileptic, best is to get a qualified physician to evaluate whether that person is okay to do Kriya or not. It has to come from the physician. I cannot tell you because I don't know the patient, but a physician can tell you. So go talk to a physician.
Well, we have some life-related questions, 4 or 5. So, is it okay to take it now?
Yeah.
How to live a fulfilling retired life?
Juice pivanu, carom rambanu, majjani life. I already did that. Fulfilling means what? Fulfilling means do something. Okay, I'll tell you actionable step. Learn something new every day. 1. Okay, learn something new every day. Do something for other people every day without expecting anything in return. Not even acknowledgement, not even a thank you, nothing. Do that. Those 2 things enough. Learn something new every day and do an action that nobody even knows you did. There is no expectation of thank you. Those 2 things you do every day.
Taya, how to deal with children who are adamant and difficult despite having compassion?
जोर का चाटा अगर बचपन में लगाया होता ना तो ये दिन ना देखना पड़ता. Like that. That's the only way to deal with. No. You have to deal with them with compassion. You have to deal with them from understanding at their level. So go and learn these techniques from the teachers or the facilitators of the kids and the teenagers program. There is a certain choice of words that is better to use. Like, don't say no like that, but say, can we do it this way? Like that, you have to change the way you speak. Don't say no, but you have to say, can you do it this way? Like that. So there is a whole way of doing it. And it is in the US, we have a whole series where we instruct parents how to do it. India में है कि नहीं मेरे को मालूम नहीं है, but we'll find out. I'm sure that's in India also.
Taya, I'm tired of facing challenges and fighting. Please help.
I'm also very tired of facing challenges and fighting all the time. Okay, so क्या है question?
I mean, please help because the person is already tired of facing challenges. Yeah.
Okay, I give you a choice. Either you face challenges or you die. Which will you choose? You will choose to face the challenges. Yeah, Know Your Child workshop. Correct. That's it. It's called Know Your Child workshop. See, facing challenges means what? You think that you have an option to do something else. If the other option is to die, and the one option is to face challenges, only two options in which will you choose? You will choose to face the challenges. And you will choose to face the challenges in that situation, and you will face them willingly, because the other option is even worse. You're just dead. So right now you're having difficulty because you think there is a third option available. But maybe there is no third option available.
When we are into an arranged marriage, there are certain independence that gets restricted. So how we can cope that? And there is another question which is related to marriage is how many years you have been married and what is the secret of the successful marriage?
मेरा तो वारंटी पीरियड खत्म हो गया है मैरिज का. ठीक है, 25 years हो जाएगा. All warranty period off, done. No, it has been ups and downs. Yeah, every marriage is a big ups and downs. So don't worry about that. But yeah, some marriages are a little bit more downs than ups. That is possible. See, you have to decide. You have to evaluate the opposite. Patanjali says this. So when you're stuck with a thing that you cannot resolve, you look at the opposite of it. So let's say you're stuck in a marriage that you're not very liking. Then you say, what will happen if I don't stick with this marriage? And if that is more conducive than sticking to the marriage, then you know your answer. But you might find that not sticking to this marriage is less conducive than sticking to the marriage. Then you have to make the best of the situation. You have to have some yukti, something like that. Like, okay, this is worse. How can I make it a little bit less bad? No, you cannot make it directly good. It's already horrible. How can I make it less bad? And then how can I make it less bad? Like this, you keep moving from less bad to lesser bad to least bad, and then it becomes okay. And then it becomes good and better and best, like small steps. But without knowing the details, I cannot say anything else.
Where does drinking coffee affect our body or prana? Or is coffee Rajasic, Tamasic, or Sattvic? As sometimes you feel very sleepy and sometimes you feel very energetic.
Coffee is a drug. So coffee ka kya hai? So the caffeine molecule is the only molecule, one of the few molecules that go across the blood-brain barrier. So there is a blood-brain barrier. So blood doesn't interact with brain. The caffeine molecule goes across the barrier. That is why that's why it's a stimulant. It's the same as the other like LSD and all these people, all these drugs do the same thing. They go across the blood-brain barrier. So yeah, so coffee is a drug. So use it with caution.
May I recommend 5 good books according to you? What are the top 5 books?
ऐसे कुछ नहीं है. I already made a Instagram reel on all the books I have read, right? So go on. There's a website. So sandeepkarode.com. If you go to that website, you can search for all the reels topics. So all the Instagram reels that I've done on physics, spirituality, all this other stuff. It's called a little something about everything. You can search by topic and you will get that on the website, and then you can click it and it'll take you to Instagram and you can watch it. So I did a reel on all the books that I've read. So that doesn't mean that those books are for you. They are good for me. But if you want that information, it's out there.
There are now major questions are on pranayama and techniques of Ujjayi and everything.
Now, all that we have already done in the physics of pranayama, right? So you can just watch that talk.
So we are good now.
Good, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. It's done. Anna, maja aaya? Was it fun?
Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoyed the session.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you very much.
Done? Everything is done? Everything is good?
Thank you, Sandeep bhai.
What is the secret of the cup?
Secret of the cup means?
You told
Sit
that
on a
we
chair
must
and
have
eat.
a cup.
Sit on a chair.
कुछ तो हट के करना चाहता. How you'll remember the session? You'll say, oh, that session where I had to show the cup to this joker. Now you'll remember me. See, I already made an impression. This is called Vrutti seeding. Oh, it's a fun thing. I mean, otherwise you just come and sit. Well, there's no fun, right?
Yeah. You can have some chawal.
Okay, done?
अच्छा घी आ गया आपका. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Vairagya.
Adios.
Thank you, sir.
Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.
Jai Guru.
Thank you.